need your pen, your pencil, your ruler, paper in your maths book to write down some stuff. So it's not just all going to be on this page. Right, so get that prepared before we start. Let's look at some of the questions, because this is stuff that we've done over and over again. What type of correlation does this scatter graph show? Over to you. What do you think? Negative, yeah. How could we describe it in more detail? So I definitely go with negative, linear and strong. Yeah? Happy with that? Right, have you looked at what it's about? Maths marks compared to the art marks. So, why are we doing this? What's this analysis about? See, there's a difference between them. What does that word correlation mean again? Relationship, that's what it says, a relationship. And what we're looking for, I think we said before, is there a pattern to that relationship, yeah? Is there a trend? Can we see anything that's happening? And, by the way, which one is the independent variable? Read it. Which one do you think? Which one's the independent variable? It's maths, isn't it? Yeah, and the dependent one is art. So what is the suggestion? By putting it that way round, what are we suggesting about maths and art grades and marks? What are we looking for? Remember, one's the independent, the other one's the dependent. So what are we saying? By putting the maths mark as the independent and the art mark as the dependent, what are we suggesting? That the basically, guys, we've got 15 students who have taken a maths test and an art test. Alright? Looking at that data, you've got a negative correlation, a negative relationship. What does that mean about the relationship between maths and art? That's not really a statement that answers my what about the relationship between the two. I need something that includes maths and art. Okay, and that's it. So when the maths marks go up, the art marks go down. Now remember, each one of these points is a different person. Yeah? So this person, how would you describe them? In terms of their art and their maths? Really? They're good at both?
They're bad at math.
Bad at math, but good at art. This person, good at math, bad at art. This person, average at both. Yeah? Alright, so what does the fact that they've put the maths one as the independent and the art one as the dependent suggest? Are they suggesting that the art mark depends on how good you are at maths? That's what they're saying. Now, remember, I'm not asking for is that the correct thing or not. I'm asking what does the graph, forget the points, by putting the maths here and the art here. This, remember, is the dependent variable, and this is the independent. So we are saying that the art mark depends on the maths mark, whether that's true or not.
So are they saying that some people aren't doing that?
Well, let's discuss that. Yeah, does this make sense? Do people that are good at maths tend to be not so good at art? Not necessarily, but could it be true?
Yeah, that's possible.
This data suggests yes, doesn't it? Right? We could do it at a different school and get a different set of results completely. Right? But in this set, we are looking at it and saying, those people that are good at maths are not so good at art. What could we have a reason for that? Milo, you have to put your mouse on, please. Last time. Yeah.
Because you spend more time on that thing?
Yeah. There's definitely different types of people, aren't there? There's maths and science, and then there's the creative, music, art, potentially. Some people are good at everything, which is annoying, but it happens. All right? And some people, unfortunately, not so good at everything. Okay? But definitely, I think, I've known some people, I think I will still know some people that might not be as strong in maths, but are really good at art. Would anyone in here describe themselves in that way? Yeah? Not really. But if I changed art to another subject, I could change it to another different than academic, sport. Are people good at sport but not so good at math? So we could argue this is a good. Now, not saying that's always the case, but in this data we've got, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we're looking at, and we think we've got a negative correlation, which means if I'm good at maths, I'm not going to be as good at art. That tends to be what happens. And maybe it's just a school thing. Maybe they say, oh, if you're really good at art, don't worry about your maths.
Can you be by grade?
Yeah? Maybe it's like, oh, if you want to be good at maths and go to university, let's just do some maths and forget about your art. Yeah?
Well, I feel like maths is arguably more important than art.
Depends.
Math is one of like the main core subjects.
It's a core subject.
Unless you're going to be like an artist.
Yeah.
I know, but art is not really a main subject.
No? Well, no, it's not considered a core subject at school, but how good at art do you need to be if you want to be like an architect? Still have to do both, I guess. If you want to do design of clothes.
I'm not saying it's not important at all. I'm just saying.
No, I know, but yeah, these people have different strengths. You should find your strength and pursue it in that direction, right? Find out what you enjoy. Anyway, let's look at this. So the next thing is to draw a line of best fit. Now, before we do a line of best fit, this is going to be our first chunk of work. All right? Yeah.
Would the axis always be the independent or no?
Yes, the x-axis is always the independent.
Okay.
Could we have switched these around, by the way, in this case? Would it have made sense to have maths depend on art? So this is one of those situations where actually it doesn't really matter which way around. It's not like temperature and ice cream sales, where if I want the temperature to go up, I just sell some more ice creams. That doesn't make sense. Right? But if the temperature goes up, I will sell more ice cream. This one, we could have them either way round. Okay. But we've got to do a line of best fit. But before we do that, there's got to be something added to this graph. What is it? The mean point. Okay. We've got some work to do. So this is like doing the opposite. Before, you had the table and you plotted the points. This time, you've got the points, you have to find the table. So for instance, if I do it, you're going to do this in your book, but I'm going to do it on the side of my screen. All right? So for instance, I've got to find the x values and the y values that would go in the table. Okay? So how do I do that? Well, I look at this point here, all right? And I have to read off its coordinates. So this is where having a ruler is really good, because I can lay my ruler down, right? Make sure I don't veer off. That's the x coordinate, this is the y coordinate. So the y coordinate I can read, I look at the scale, it's 10 squares to 10. So This is 53, so at that point 53. The next point is what? It's 10 squared, so I think that's 10. What do you think? 13? Yeah? Right, number 1 is done. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points. But if we're clever and we work as a team, you could just do 1 each. 53. Read from your graph and confirm. That's why I made it bigger. So how about I've done 1, Jai can do 2, Sam 3, Talia 4, Luke 5, Marley 6, 7, 8, Eden 9, 10, 11, and 12. Alright? Look at the numbers. Alright? Just do the one that I've asked you to do. 1, 2. Look at me. No, 2. 2. I've done 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Yeah? And I've numbered them on, so you're doing the right one. Okay? And then we'll do the last couple together. It's always good to check out. So 21, 35. Yeah? Well, that wasn't so painful. Have we got them all? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right, what's 13? Should we do that together? So 13, I think, is 45. It's not so easy, is it?
It is 45.
Yeah. And then on the way up, it's 12. You agree? 45 and 12. So that 13. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that 14 then. Do this one. Tell me what that one is. We'll do it together just to check. Read down.
14 would divide by 50.
52. Go with 52. And
I think it's 15. It's 15.
15. Yeah, we'll go with that. And the final one, read down. 56. And read across, I think it's 12. It's got to be the same as 13, and 13 is 12, so that's a good news. Yeah? Right. So now, that was nice, we worked together, we got all the points. But what do we do now? Add them all together and divide. Okay. Got your calculators? Why don't you half? Guys, you looking? You guys do the X one. You do the Y one. Do you all agree with Sienna? This side, the X one is about 29. Have you done that? You guys? Still doing it? And this side we need the next one. What do you agree on? Pardon? 32. Alright? Everyone should be doing it because it's so easy to make a mistake. I need consensus. So 29 and 32 we've got.
What do you add them all up?
Divided by the number of numbers, and we've got 15 numbers.
I got this for X.
I got
Did you
29.
divide by 15? You
Yeah.
press divide before you press equals. So yours has only done the last number divided by 15, not the whole thing. You have to press equals and then press divide. Because bed mass, it will do division first.
Was on this for like 25 or 15.
You need to add all the numbers up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got like
Press equals and then divide by 15. You will not get 300. So You should get a number somewhere, if you're doing the y ones, should be a number between 0 and 53. It can't be bigger than 53. It can't be less than 13 if you're 12. Yeah, what do you get?
29.06.
Oh, so you did the x ones rather than the y ones. No, you did the wrong way around. You did the... Because you got the same as... Sienna, which ones did you do? Sienna, which ones did you do? These ones, the x ones?
Yes, I did.
Yeah? I think you did the same. You got the same answer, which is fine. And no, you don't need to do it again.
29.06.
Right. 29 and 32. Right, guys. Do we all have a consensus? It's 29 and 32. Yeah? What do we do with that information? Put it in. So 29 on the x, 32. So what I'm going to do, obviously you would do this with a ruler. I'm going to do it, so I'm going to go. Go on. What do you get? Something's still not quite right. So I'm going to put a line up. I put my ruler at 29 and then my ruler across at 32. So that's the point. I think I've got a mean point, yeah? So it should be roughly near number 8. So if I put my mean point there, so I can rub my lines out, that's my mean point. I can put a circle around it, or call it a name, so I know that's where the line of best fit has to go through. Right. Just while you're doing that, I'm going to rub out the numbers. I don't want them in the way. Now, does that look about right? If we're right, that point should be roughly in the middle. And we think we're about right, yeah?
What number is that?
29 and 32.
No, I meant, which, oh, it's 8.
Yeah, that's number 8. Now you can do your line of best fit. You lay your ruler, it has to go through that point. Okay? Does everyone know how to do that? So you get your line, has to go through that point, and then you lay it down somewhere that you think, and I think, for me, just because it doesn't really matter, that's what I'm going to do. It's going through my mean point, it's going in the direction I've got some above, some below. It's about, I think mine's alright actually. But we'll do it with technology check afterwards. Let's go for it. So that's what mine looks like. It goes slightly above, but that doesn't mean mine's correct. You do what you think. It's a bit easier for you with your ruler. You decide where you want it to go. Right? Don't forget, we don't care about this point. We're not going to use that point. Luke, you good? You know what you're doing? Get your ruler on then. You're going to do it on the big version that I've given you? Yeah? Right? Now we want to find the equation. What does an equation look like of a straight line again? It's y equals plus or minus 2. Right. Plus or minus. All right. What did we do to start before? We looked at the plus c, right?
Yeah.
But this time I'm not going to do that. That's the thing I don't want to look at straight away. So what we're going to do is find the m. So the m is exactly the same as you did before. How do you find the m again? Right, pick 2 points. And it's so rise divided by run. Now here we go. What I suggest you do is you use one of the points you know, which is the mean point. So let's use the mean point, and the mean point is at 29.32. So we might as well just use that one. We know it. Alright? We know for definite without having to do anything other than that. Right, let's find another point that we can use. And I'm going to go around here. But what I'm going to do, let's just pick anything that I could maybe. I'm going to pick that one there. Remember, yours will be slightly different to mine. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read off the coordinates there. So That is the y coordinate, so what do I think that is? 41, that's 45. And then my x coordinate, if I read down, I think is, don't go wonky with my ruler, I think is at 17. So my second point that I'm using is at 17 and 45. Okay?
Why would you use that?
Why not?
It's just random?
Any way you like. I'd give it a bit of distance, so not too close to the mean point. Alright? Find another point, find its coordinate. Doesn't matter which one. Yeah. As long as it's on the line, we're all good. So your numbers, unless your line is exactly the same as mine, will not be the same as mine. Right? Your numbers will be two different numbers. Right? Okay. You'll manage that? What's coming next then? Rise and run. So let's work out the rise. So the rise is actually a drop. Okay, so what I do is I work out how far. So my rise is not going up, it's going down. So it's a rise of negative, and it goes from, well, I had 45, it drops down to 32. Here, look, because that's where this point is. So 45 to 32, so my rise is actually negative 13, yeah? 45 to 32 is minusing 13. Right with that? Then I need my run. So my run is going from there to that point. So I know it goes, instead of using the gridlet, I can use my coordinates. It goes from 17 to 29. So what's 17 to 29? 12. So I've got negative 13 and I've got 12. So my run is 12. Alright? Well, that's mine. What's yours? Can't write mine down. Right? The y equals, and I have my m. And my m is negative 13 over 12. Can someone tell me what that is? Well, actually, no, I'm going to do it as it's negative 13 over 12x plus or minus something, isn't it? Yeah? What's my something going to be roughly? Just as a check. Plus 60 something, yeah? Gives me a rough idea. Okay? So let's see whether I can figure out. So what I'm going to do is this. Right? What I now need to do is use one of the two coordinates and put it in for x and y and work out what c is. So what I mean by that is I have two coordinates, don't I? Right? One of my coordinates is actually the mean point. So this is my x and this is my y. So in here I'm going to replace it with 32 equals negative 13 divided by 12 times 29 plus something. Alright? I've replaced my x with the 29 and my y with the 32. So I've now got an equation where c is the unknown. So what I have to do is work that out, this bit out first. So negative 13 divide by 12, then multiply by 29. Alright, but you have to do it for your numbers. Well, it's a bit tricky here. If you're not up to this, with your own numbers, you're just the rise and run, multiply. So you will then get something equals something plus c. You all good with that?
I just put in my calculator, negative 13 divided by 12 from me is negative 1.083.
Yeah.
So is it negative 1.083 times 29?
Yeah.
That's it.
Because we all share the 2932, don't we?
Yeah.
Because it's the mean point, so that's common for all of us.
And I
Alright.
got negative 339.0.
Can I borrow your calculator? So with mine, guys, just before we go, so I've got 13 divided by 12 is that, multiplied by 29 is, so what I have is this, 32 equals 31 points, I've got to round it, 4 plus something. Do you all get about the same sort of thing? Alright. Okay. So what we'll do is on Tuesday, hopefully we can remember it, we'll finish that off and do the rest. Alright, we just need to figure out what the C is. Maybe you can even do it at home, or you've already done it now. But just remember, guys, this number will not be the same as yours, unless your M is the same as mine. Now, guys,